Hello, Mr. Kovax. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Saul. How are you?
Let me introduce you to the viewers. So you are from Norway.
I'm not from Norway. I'm from Sweden.
Okay, so journalism strikes again. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that you are a Warcraft 3 champion developer. Can you explain the difference between being a developer at Warcraft 3 champion and a moderator, for example, or just a Warcraft 3 champion guy?
Right. So a developer writes code and helps develop the platform in different ways. And a moderator does not write any code. He helps with the moderation of the platform, keeps players in check, makes sure no one's griefing or leaving games early and stuff. So you need both. You need both developers and you need moderators.
Okay, so we are the gamers, so we are talking in the MMR. So what is your coding MMR, programming MMR?
Oh, it's not very high. It's not very high. I just have a lot of free time, which is, which helps.
Okay, so so how big is the Warcraft 3 developer team, and how is the coding MMR there?
Okay, so since it's an open source project, and you don't get paid or anything, it's always difficult to keep people on the project. So during the lifetime of Warcraft 3 Champions, there's been a lot of different developers. Pad started it, and then you have Fluxu, who made Flow and Flow TV and a lot of the back end. He's definitely the strongest developer MMR. He's really, really good. But he's also busy with real life. He has more of a real life than me. He has a job, he has a kid, he has a family. I have none of those. So yeah, my coding MMR is not so big. Then we have Bogdan W3. He's really good, and he's extremely good at Warcraft 3 related stuff. How Warcraft 3 works.
So for the viewers, we had to move because the party has started at Raraland after the grand final, and we are talking about the how strong developer team, and we are talking about Mr. Bogdan.
Yeah. So Bogdan knows a lot about Warcraft 3's inner workings. He's been very helpful. He's also a strong programmer. So great to have him in the team.
And I'm asking about how strong developer team is, because as we know, with computers, with software, with programs, problems may happen, may occur.
They may.
So how is it basically your chain of reaction if Warcraft 3 Champions breaks? Of course, we are talking during the Raraland 3, so there was a big problem, but maybe start in general. So, for example, I don't know, it's 3 a.m. in Europe, and Warcraft 3 Champions stops working. Do you get a phone call? Do you just sleep well and you check Discord in the morning? Or?
So I benefit a lot from having no life. So I'm available almost all the time, except for when I'm sleeping. And when I am sleeping, I still get notifications on my phone. So if someone tries to reach me, I might wake up. But the good thing about Warcraft 3 Champions is that it's usually very stable.
Actually, how often something like breaks, like for real, that players can play?
Almost never. Almost never. So this was a very rare event. Usually it's because of something that a developer does. Me,
like
mostly.
Pushing the update, and the update is with some problem.
Yeah, exactly. Just, not testing well enough, or if it might be difficult to test something, and something breaks. But this time, with the Raraland incident, no one had pushed anything. So I'm just happy it's working at the moment, and when I get home, we'll have to dig a bit deeper into it.
Okay, so for the viewers, basically, the Raraland event was working great. The Warcraft Champions was working great until Sunday morning, and something broke for good, and the queue has to be stopped and disabled for during the entire process to be able to host custom games.
Yeah.
Because with the queue enabled, it was just broken, the entire thing. So
we could have probably have enabled it earlier, but I didn't want to ruin Raraland. So
Great choice, great choice.
that was the reason why it was down for so long. I don't think Warcraft 3 Champions had a downtime this long in, well, I don't know, probably before I started. So it's very rare.
Yes. Now we can talk a little bit about because you are the IT guy, and some players have IT problems, and I
Yeah.
can assume that they are trying to reach you often via
Yeah.
Warcraft 3 Champion Discord. And I saw that you made something really cool, which is this FAQ launcher things. So can you describe
Yeah.
that? Basically, you wrote down answers to most popular IT problems, and
Yeah.
where should I find it if I have a problem, and what kind of problems are there?
Just different kind of frequent problems that users have. Maybe if your game isn't registered on the website, people are asking, hey, I played a game, but I don't see it on the website. That's a very common problem. So you can look up the FAQ then on the launcher, on the Discord. And
Okay, so it's on Warcraft Champion Discord.
It's
on
on the
top
Discord.
left in the channels called FAQ launcher.
FAQ launcher,
And
yeah.
there is like I cannot start flow, like
For example,
I cannot set up the hotkeys. Where are
Yeah.
the inventory hotkeys? So list of all of those.
Or how do I enable reforged graphics in Warcraft 3 Champions?
Of course.
In which I can tell you already it doesn't work.
Because of the join bugs.
No, well, yeah, in the old launcher it did work, but now it doesn't work because of the way we launched the game. But so I've been having a few conversations with Bogdan about that, and we may have a potential solution. Though, so in the future, it might be possible to launch it with reforged graphics. But I'm getting ahead of myself because it may not happen. But that's it would be great if that was possible, because some people want to play on reforged graphics. Not a lot of people, but some do.
Okay, so if we can highlight one of the problems you already mentioned. So my next question is like, hey Kovax, you look very friendly. I really like you, and
Thank you.
I won versus opponent that was really hard, and my game didn't count. Can you do something like this? Because I feel so annoyed.
Oh yeah, no, I can't do anything because I can't edit your score afterwards. Well,
because it's automated process, right?
Yeah, because maybe you've already played another game since then, or your opponent has already played another game, and so
you break the matrix, the MMR, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So he's already gotten more MMR, so I can't adjust
Everything
that.
is connected, and it's like time travel. If you break one thing in the past, then there is no future, and the entire world is ruined.
Yeah. I would have to then adjust the MMR that you got for the other game, and it would just be extremely messy, and I would probably break something. Okay. So no, that's not possible.
Yes, and because I highlighted it because it's quite annoying for the first time, but from my experience, the service is great, and it's just an issue that happens. And I heard that closing the game in a particular way, which is described on the FAQ launcher, like close the game like that to reduce this probability. Now,
like if you close it the right way, it will always count. If you close it the wrong way, it will never count.
And short the way
if you won. Okay. But if the winner closes it the right way, it will count. Okay. So the winner has no incentive to close it the wrong way. So if you win and you close it the right way, it will always count.
And can you describe shortly how to close the right way? Because now I'm curious.
Yeah, Alt QQ.
So you won, you got the pop-up and Alt QQ.
If you win and you get the pop-up, then you can click the quit button. That's fine. Or you can click continue, but then you have to Alt QQ. You can't Alt F4, and you can't exit game.
It's simple.
So when you press Alt Q, you get an option of quit mission and exit game. And if you click exit game, then it won't count. And you'll know that it didn't count because you don't see the score screen. If you see the score screen, you're good.
Okay. Okay, let's now go with a little bit more controversial
Okay.
question that I prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you mentioned, it's an open source project and it's a free service.
Yeah.
But also there is some professionalism. So
Of course.
how do you like basically, what is your point? Because it is similar with moderation. Like, so people complain that maybe moderators did a bad judgment,
Yeah.
but always the counter is like, we are doing free service, you should join us.
Yeah.
So how do you look at this free service versus still being like professional?
Right.
What is your take on it?
Right. So maybe I have a different opinion than others. I don't know. I can only say for myself, but I always treat it as a like revenue making company. So I try to be as professional as possible. But of course, maybe I can be rude sometimes because I'm stressed or something. But I think that it's important to be professional. But yeah,
Okay.
maybe I'm not always. Maybe I would be more friendly if like I was employed. But yeah, generally I try to treat people with respect.
It is a great approach, and I try to do it myself.
But also, like if people private message me, I usually ignore them, or I might even block them. Because I can't have like 100 people private messaging me because it would take up all my time.
And your time is valuable because you're helping Warcraft champions
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't have time to do anything
Yeah,
else.
fair.
So I prefer if people tag me on Discord
Or read FAQ.
or even just or read that or even just write, because as I said, I have no life. So I read all the channels. I read all the channels in the Discord. So you don't really need to tag me because I'll see it anyway in a few minutes.
Okay, now can we talk a little bit about ping? Because like my question is as following: should we complain about the speed of light to whoever made the speed of light as a constant, and we should ask for buff there, or it's still something can be done to improve ping? Because like we are limited by speed of light, but also there is this routing problem, so the internet cables are entangled a little bit. So
yeah. Sorry. So if there's anything you can do to improve ping for players?
Yes.
Well, you can have you can you can have servers in more locations.
So the server infrastructure, if you don't know, the below viewers, is like vast versus BNet is vast. Warcraft Champions is providing very good servers.
I think we have around 30 servers at the moment.
But still, do you think like because you are developing the new launcher and new launcher is getting better and better and better, and is there still room for improvement for ping, or because of the reality of speed of light?
Yeah.
As I said, you think there is like not a big room for improvement. Of course, you can try to add servers, but if you are in Australia and I don't know Europe, it's still not possible.
I think there are lots of possibilities for improvements. Before there was a Singapore server, for example, then it was brought down. I think it was maybe brought down before I got into Warcraft 3 Champions. I don't know what happened to it, but it wasn't there. So a few months ago, I learned how to deploy my own flow servers. So then I set up one in Singapore. And it works really well for the people in Australia when they play against someone in China, for example, or South Korea. So they have pretty good ping to that. They have about 100 milliseconds instead of having to play in a China server, and Australians have like 200 ping. It's a big difference, 200 and 100 ping. And also we deployed a server in Los Angeles, in
Poland.
In Poland as well, and that's a super popular server. It's one of the most popular servers, and that's also hosted on Google. And Google's servers are quite expensive because usually we try to keep costs down because, of course, as I mentioned, it's an open source project. We don't charge anything for it, so we're living off of donations. So yeah, cost is always the thing that you have to think about. If we had unlimited resources, we could definitely do more for ping.
Speaking about resources, because I remember I saw some interview like 2 years ago, I think with Floss Today, who was like connected to Warcraft 3 Champions back then, and he was talking with Neo about how much like money, let's say dollars, you should spend to like develop something as Warcraft 3 Champions. It wasn't be an open source project. Do you have like estimations? Are we talking about thousands or millions of dollars? How much the entire work of the community could be valued on the open market?
I mean, we're not paying any developers, so that would be the highest cost for a real company.
Okay, so do you have estimate how?
And I don't have an estimate. I just know how much our servers cost.
Okay.
And if you add developer time to that, it would be a lot more. But I can't really make an estimate. But paying the developers would be by far the highest cost. Okay. And we don't, so that's why it's so cheap to run.
Okay, and thank you for your time again. And to finish the interview with some stuff that can keep us excited, I saw that you were work on automated tournaments, and I saw that activity was a little bit low with the automated tournaments, but also it's a kind of new thing. Do you have plans to still trying to develop this, or you thought that it's like better to develop other stuff?
Yeah, so I did a little bit of work on automated tournaments before. I still think there are things to fix. And also I had a look at how Battle.net does it. You know, they have automated tournaments as well. And I thought that their implementation was kind of superior, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Because they do it completely different. Oh. They do like, so you do, so you apply for the tournament, and then you just play games. You just queue and you get matched to someone else in the tournament. And you can play a maximum of 8 games, I think. And then the people that have seeded, that have achieved the most amount of wins, they get placed in a bracket. Which is kind of a smart way to do it, because we simply put people in the bracket immediately. And you need to wait. Yeah, you need to wait a lot, of course. So that problem is less on Battle.net. And also, you have the potential problem of someone having some issue in the bracket. And if some person has an issue in the bracket and their match doesn't complete, then the whole tournament is basically stopped, because that part of the bracket can't advance.
So if someone closes the game in the wrong way, he destroys the tournament.
Yeah, so you need a lot of like safeguards and stuff like that in our automated tournaments to account for that. So like if so there's a timer for automated tournament games for 30 minutes. If you haven't completed your game in 30 minutes, then it will randomize a winner, stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff has to happen, and that has to work properly. But for Battle.net, they kind of eliminate those issues, because if you have some problems, well, then you won't play any games and you won't get into the bracket, because you'll be at the bottom of, you won't be in the top players. So you won't get put in the bracket later. So the bracket will almost always complete.
Okay, Mr. Kovax, you surprised me, because like for me, like I just assumed that everything that Blizzard made is worse than Warcraft 3 Champions, and as we can see, this humble developer just checks the competition, let's say, and he keeps a nice conclusion. And the last question that I ask to everyone, player, developer, doesn't matter, your favorite Warcraft 3 drama of all time?
My favorite Warcraft 3 drama? Probably Massone. Yeah, Massone and his We Have Immunity. That is my favorite, because I love the clip that someone made of him, and I think, so they're a stack of 3, and they play with one other random, and they queue up, and they all just write GG, and they're like, it's fine. We have immunity.
Okay,
And
so
they
for
scream that.
for the solo players, it
Mm.
was a 4v4 RT game hosted on Warcraft 3 Champions, and the feature was developed by Warcraft 3 Champions, like map feature. If you think that your team is losing, you can just vote in your team by typing -GG to basically end the game, and one player opinion doesn't matter in this voting. And we had a stack of 3 players playing, and they just saw someone they don't like in their team, and they just decided to make him angry. They did type -GG, and this story drama is very funny because it was during the stream of a Twitch user Mas Own who said we can do it because we have our immunity because of Warcraft 3 Champions rules. And trust me, they didn't have the immunity. So yes, they got banned for that.
I mean, it's a very poor experience for the 4th player. Can you imagine?
I was in this situation.
Right, can you imagine?
Yes.
Like, you're just some random guy queuing up with 3 others, and suddenly they all type GG in the beginning of the game, and you get lost. Like, you get minus MMR for it. You're going to be pissed.
Thank you, Mr. Kovax. It was a pleasure, and keep up the great job.
Thank you.